Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We're bringing on Derek Stevens. St. Louis guy, played his college hockey at UConn, played a little bit of pro. Now he's steeped in the youth hockey game. Got some kids coming up in St. Louis. Great youth hockey guy. But before we do get over to Derek, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the one Jeffrey Jehu Lavecchio. Vex, what's shaking today, Bacon?
There's a snow apocalypse here in St. Louis, which usually means we're getting 1 to 2 inches, but apparently we're supposed to be getting like 20 inches. Woke up today and it's a winter wonderland, which I love. It's beautiful. But basically the state of Missouri, or at least the surrounding area of St. Louis, is going to be 100% shut down because people here are hilarious when it snows. It's like they just think they can drive the same speed. And it's like, guys, you need to leave way earlier and you need to drive way slower, and you'll pretty much be fine for the most part. But people are just like, nah, I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit, and I'm gonna go the same speed I always do.
But Vex, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, well, hell, you could be second, you could be third.
But not according to Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, but big news.
Huge news.
Jakub Dobeš, one of my longtime clients, been training him since he was 17. After our last podcast here last week, made his NHL debut and had a shutsy bobutsy, aka a shutout, against the Stanley Cup reigning champions. So that was amazing. And then last night, he played his bag off. Absolutely anchored the Canadians, kept them in it. I mean, from the overextended highlights, like the scoring chances that they were getting against, like Doby shut the effing door and then shut the door in a shootout and won his second game. So lot of buzz around Doby, but for me, man, really cool. I already texted him. He's going to come on the podcast because he's one of the best guys ever. So hopefully we're going to get him real soon.
Wasn't he the guy that sent you like a picture of every meal that he ate for like a long time?
Bro, every meal. We're gonna get into that on the podcast with him. But at 17 years old, he had moved away from Czech Republic at 16 to come to St. Louis and play for AAA Blues. And I started coaching him 2018-19, the first year after I retired. And we'll get into this in the podcast. Him and I got into it a little bit in the beginning of the year, and then we became super tight. And he started sending me videos of him stretching at night to like hold himself accountable. He started sending me pictures of every single meal he ate, writing out everything he'd eaten a day, because he's like, I don't want to just be good. Like, I want to be great. I want to try to like really do this. I didn't move away from home for no reason, and we talked about that, and then I got in his ear, and so he started doing it, and it's just really cool. It's really cool when you see people have that level of commitment, and then where it leads him. So really proud of him.
And it's not an accident.
Not a freaking accident, bro. Not an accident. It's very cool. Very cool.
That's unreal, man. That's really cool. Just watching him get a shutout in his first NHL game and then beating the former reigning Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche in a shootout at Montreal.
In Colorado.
Yeah, and they're like one of the worst teams in the league, Montreal. Beating two of the top teams. Like that's legit.
I've only ever said at 18 years old that I thought two of the players that I was working with were going to make the NHL, because like at 18, it's still, unless they're Sidney Crosby, and I've never trained Sidney Crosby, right? Like, or before 18. And at 17, I said about Doby, okay, this kid's going to play games in the NHL. And the other one was Joseph Woll. And I knew at 16 with Joseph Woll. I was like, they're just something.
They're just different. Their work
It's
ethic, their preparation, their attention to detail, their
right. Their
commitment.
natural ability, obviously that
Yeah.
plays a role in it. Let's not get it twisted, but all the things combined that I could see at that age and comparing it to everyone else and then through my career and stuff. And I was just like, okay, these are two that I would bet the farm on that they're going to play in the NHL. Only two, but I'm 2 for 2.
That's unreal, dude. Very cool. Well, congrats to Dobie.
Yeah.
To Dobie. And actually, his Ohio State Buckeyes just beat Michigan at Wrigley Field the other day.
Wow.
Big win for the Buckeyes. Yeah.
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 Pretty cool.
Yeah. Would have been unreal. So we just got back from our vacation, but they were playing at Wrigley Field over the weekend, and I wasn't able to go see it, but it looked like just such a cool experience.
Looked so sick, man.
Yeah.
So sick. God.
Yeah.
I want to go to one of those.
So, on top of all this stuff, we got Derek Stevens on the podcast here today. Vex, this is one of your buddies. So this was a really cool podcast, guys. Like, you really kind of get deep into some of the youth hockey stuff here, and also, it's interesting. Like, his college recruitment story
So wild.
is insane. His college commitment story to go to Utah is absolutely insane. I'm not even going to say anything about it. I'm just going to wait for you guys to hear it on the podcast. But like, this is, I don't know, man. It's just you never know who's watching, right? Like, you never know who's watching. And I always used to say this, like, you never know who's in the building when you're playing your best game. And you never know who's in the building when you're playing your worst game. And you never know what impact you're going to have on those people based on what they're seeing, right? So really, really cool. But we did dive a lot into youth hockey. So Derek's got some kids coming up through it right now. And so we've dove pretty hard into the youth hockey part of our podcast, let's say, over the past, maybe 3-4 weeks or so. And a lot of that has to do with just the fact that, like, myself in particular, but both of us have really had our ear to the ground right now. And now is the time when everybody kind of gets a little squirrely, let's say, which is crazy. The fact that there's still half of the season left, but everybody's freaking out about next year already. And, everybody's kind of going crazy and stuff. So we've tried to dive into it. And I wanted to share some statistics with you. So I'm on the board of AHI now, right? So for those of you who don't know AHI is the USA Hockey affiliate for Illinois. And so I've been doing some deep dive digging into just some stuff that's been going on, because to me, at both the tier 1 level and the tier 2 level, things have gotten a little bit out of control. Right. And we didn't, it's amazing how many people have reached out to us about our Might AAA podcast, man. Like, I've had so many people reach out to me about Might AAA and how ridiculous it is. And so I wanted to go through, and I actually, this is how much of a not life I have, or how much I've dedicated my life, let's say it, to the betterment of our game. But I'm looking at, first of all, like, Might AAA, I would even say Squirt AAA. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. So I went in, and I went to my hockey rankings, and I looked up like a bunch of the stuff for the teams here in Chicago at like the young ages. I don't know if the Mites are actually on there, but the Squirts. So the 9U and 10U. So it's the first weekend of January here. So Sunday, January 5th. So basically what I was looking at was pre kind of like 2025. So up until like December 31st, I'm assuming. There are quote unquote AAA teams. So 9U. So 9U right now is 8-year-olds, right? 8-year-olds to 9-year-olds. There are 9U teams in Chicago. One has played 49 games already and has had 5 trips with a hotel stay.
Go!
Another 9U team, 48 games with 5 hotel trips. Then we got 10U teams. Let's see here. 10U, 52 games, 6 hotel trips. 51 games, 6 hotel trips. 50 games, 6 hotel trips. 49 games, 5 hotel trips. Okay, so then let's go to 11U. So this is like first year Pee Wee. We got teams that have played 58 games already with 6 hotel trips, 56 games with 5 hotel trips, 49 games with 6 hotel trips. And then you just keep going and going. And it's actually not even like midgets haven't even played as much. They've taken the same amount of hotel trips, but like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like,
what is it you do here?
Well, it's funny too, right? Like, it's World Junior time, and actually we're recording on Sunday, so January 5th. So tonight, USA is taking on Finland for the gold medal for World Junior Championship, and Canada plays fifth this year. So Canada plays fifth, so they're in a tizzy up in up in the North Country there, and so everybody, like, all this stuff is coming out. All these people talking about how the youth hockey system is failing Canada. Why? Because it's too expensive, right? It should be as many as possible for as long as possible. That's how you're supposed to do it. But in Canada, it's gotten to the point like we are right now. Like we're just behind them. This is where we're headed. And had not like the NHL expanded in the early 90s, and we've gotten so many more people in our talent pool because we have kids now that are like elite talents from Florida and Texas and California and Arizona and Colorado and things like that. If not for that bump 20 years ago, like we wouldn't be where we're at right now because we injected all of these athletes into the talent pool. But now we're a little bit behind Canada, right? And that's where we're headed, guys. Like that's where we're headed if we don't get a hold on the cost and the craziness of what I just talked about for tier 1 at 9-year-olds playing, 52 games before the new year and traveling 6 times with 6 hotel stays. That's where we're headed, because that's not as many as possible or as long as possible. That's ensuring that our sport becomes a white collar sport, and the access to entry to our sport is no longer where it needs to be. And so I've we've with our podcast dedicated a lot of our time and effort into unraveling some of these things, unearthing some of these things, just to sound the alarm that like this is not good for our sport. And so for all the adults who make decisions here that are listening to this, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And you're seeing it. Canada 2 years in a row, I think, right? Finished fifth over, like, that's where we're headed. So,
Ooh, and Canada, man, they go wild. Like if you're in Canada in World Junior time, like you realize how big that. Obviously, hockey's huge in Canada, but then when you see how crazy people go for the World Junior tournament, and you're like, bunch of teenagers, like it is like the country shuts down
it's
for
awesome.
World
And it's in
Juniors.
Canada this year. They finished fifth. They lost to the Czechs in the quarterfinals, and it's in Canada. So it's a country in mourning right now.
Oh baby, are they? They are blowing. They're falling apart right now, ripping their own hair out, and I can't lie, I kind of love it.
And USA is playing for their second gold in a row here this year.
Let's
So,
go.
yeah, crazy, man. Like just some of these, like, come on, like 11-year-olds, 10-year olds playing 58 games before the new year and traveling out of town in a hotel 6 times. So what is it? You think, like, if you're traveling, I mean, obviously it depends. Like if you're on a flight and a parent's coming and things like that. But let's just say it's on average 1,500,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna guess.
1,500 for a
Food,
hotel trip.
food, plane, hotel,
Gas, all that. And then
gas.
again, that's going to be different if you're driving versus if you're flying or whatever.
Right,
So like an average trip from LA is a lot different than an average trip from Chicago. Because
right.
Chicago, you're probably getting on a plane twice out of those 6. LA, you're
Yeah,
probably getting on a plane
every time.
5 out of those
Yeah,
6,
yeah.
maybe even 6. But let's just say on average it's 1,500 and you're doing 6 trips before Christmas. That's a lot of money. That's a
So
lot
much.
of money on top of the tuition that they're already paying.
Think
And
if
then
you
all the
think
things
if
they do in
you
the summer, and oh man,
think if
it's
you're a
crazy, dude.
coach, think if you're a coach who at the start of the year you go, okay, last year teams around our age took 6 trips. That equals an extra, let's just say $10,000. It's probably more than that, but we'll just say that's $10,000 extra that all of you in this room are going to have to pay just to go play games somewhere else. What we're going to do this year is we're going to take 2 trips and go to fun tournaments where there maybe one more longer stay. The tournament has some kind of cool thing that they're doing, like a turkey trot, over Thanksgiving, and it's some big tournament or something, and maybe you do one for the new year, right? And then instead of spending that extra, whatever, 7,000, 8,000, we're going to put that money into and not spend that much into practicing, into workouts, into having a nutritionist come and talk to the kids, into another sport coach coming, and we're going to play other sports during the year for some practices to work on other skills. We're going to do all these things. We're going to work on development. Your player will get better than if it's 5 trips, the 13 games that they would have played in just some other city. They're 8 years old, guys. They're freaking 8. They're 8. Or you just save that money, mom and dad. You save that money and you get to hang out with your family, for another weekend at home. Like come on, guys. They're 8. 8. They're not 9. They're 8. Like, God, what are we doing?
Even if they're 10, even if they're
11,
like 12.
What do we? Just stop pricing people out of the freaking game and making it unnecessarily expensive. It's just stupid to go on that many trips at that age. Like,
Yeah.
Let them be kids. Come on.
Yeah. Local and also, you know what else it does? Like local rivalries used to be awesome.
Awesome.
Like when we were younger, Glenview playing against, I was like in Illinois. So everybody from Chicago, I was Glenview playing against the Falcons, playing against the Chargers. Like it was just like,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
Like, it was so
in
much
St.
fun.
Louis, it was Creve Coeur versus Afton. If we were playing against Afton, we knew it was going to be a battle. There's going to be penalties. You got Jordy Fox, you got Boo-Ha, you got all these psychos on the other side. They're going to be chirping us and sticking us, and you always get amped up for those games, and you play less of those, the rivalry goes.
100%. Well, we're going to get into some of that on the podcast here with Derek. But yeah, those were just some stats that I was just going through it, man. I'm like, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. But anyway, more to come. So before we do get over to Derek Stevehounds, we do have some people to thank. First, want to thank our title sponsor, IceHockeySystems.com. The best website out there for all your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills. They got whiteboard explanations from some pretty seriously, unbelievably awesome hockey people. They have the ability to draw up your drills, send them out to your team before practice. And also, we have partnered with them to do a Youth Hockey Association platform where you can get this for every single coach within your organization. You can build a drill library and practice plan library for your entire organization. Imagine your coaches being able to go in and have tons of practice plans from previous coaches already there for you that they can just take and use, copy and paste into their own practices. Unbelievable. But they have some numbers that are pretty sick too. Are you ready for this? So they put this social media post out, Vex. Okay. Ice Hockey Systems in 2024, the year, 17 million plus page views. 750,000 drills drawn, 200,000 practices created, 25,000 plus members, 600 plus associations from 38 different countries that have used IceHockeySystems.com. Guys, we don't partner with just anybody. We partner with the best. Their values, their morals, their ethics, what they do, the value that they're bringing for the youth hockey world is absolutely incredible. So go to IceHockeySystems.com today, look up the association's platform, and get it for your club today. Go.
Unbelievable. Those
sick,
numbers are amazing. They're such good dudes. Does such a good job. I just want to thank Train Heroic really quickly. You guys know Train Heroic is the unbelievable app that allows me to coach thousands upon thousands of players every single year for a hilariously low price. The whole reason I started this is to make quality training affordable. I saw throughout my own career what a massive leg up it was for my own career, knowing how to train to actually translate to the ice. Unfortunately, I can't train everybody in person. So I love being able to train so many teams, so many organizations, and so many individuals for a disgustingly cheap monthly price. So Train Heroic has made that happen. If your team wants to train with me in season or the off season, at-home workouts for younger players in a gym, let me know. Okay, I can facilitate it. I've worked with NCAA D1, NCAA D3, USHL, NAHL, NA3, USPHL, all the HLs, midget teams all the way down to, yes, you heard it, 9-year-olds who aren't going out of town all the time. So you got any questions about it, please reach out to me, Train Heroic. You are the best. Thank you, Josh and fam. Also want to say thank you to Cure Nutrition. You guys know 14 conks on the old noggin for the kid during my career. Brain health and recovery with how much energy I put out every single day is something that is extremely important to me. That's why I take CBD twice a day, every single day. I take Rise and Zen. Rise in the morning, Zen at night, to help the brain, help the body, help me sleep, help me wake up without, having to inject massive, ungodly amounts of caffeine, which I used to do. So if you have any questions on CBD, who, what, why, where, when, all those things, please reach out. I know quite a bit about CBD. Or go to curednutrition.com and use my discount code GMBM. Yes, as Toph would like to say, that is curednutrition.com.
I love it. Okay, now Helios Hockey. We got some stats on Helios Hockey too. Everybody's putting out their stats here for 2024. So Helios Hockey is a sensor that you put into your shoulder pad that tracks, gives you real-time data, real-time feedback on your play, specifically when it comes to stride mechanics. So here are some stats. One Jeffrey J. Who. Over 190 million strides tracked on Helios Hockey last year. Their strides covered a total of 107,000 miles. Or for those of you up in Canada and around the world, everybody that uses the metric system outside of the US, 173,000 kilometers tracked. That is equivalent to 4 trips around the earth, guys. Also, time on ice. Players spent over 58,000 hours of active time on ice tracked by Helios. That's 2,445 days. Also, it captured almost 25,000 hours of stride time. Okay. And the kicker for this is why we love Helios Hockey. Huge. Get your shifts cut up for you right after the game because it pairs with whatever video that you're using, whether it's Live Barn, whether it's your iPhone, iPad, camera, whatever it may be. And coaches reviewed over 6,000 hours of shift video using Helios. So guys, this is an absolute game changer. Go to helioshockey.com. Use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get 20% off a pro annual or pro 24-month subscription. Or you can go to helioshockey.com/teams and you can get this for your entire team. So go to helioshockey.com, as Jeffrey says it today. And then also want to thank Crossbar. Guys, Crossbar is an unbelievable game changer for all youth hockey organizations out there. It is an end-to-end software solution that helps you with managing your operations for your youth hockey clubs. A lot of people that I know have switched over from Sports Engine over to Crossbar to do their back end for their website and all their business operations, and absolute game changer. The hockey directors and the presidents that have done that have been extremely happy. It's streamlined so much. So what does it have? It's got a unique website design, really easy to use for all us non-tech savvy people. You can do registration for your season or even for things like drop-ins or clinics or lessons. Really easy to use. There's a club scheduler, a 5-star communication app that you can use to communicate with all of your people within your youth hockey club, financial tools and reporting, volunteer management, facility management if you're tied in with your rink. Just a phenomenal thing to have. So go to crossbar.org, not .com, .org today and check it out. Again, like just everybody who's changed over has absolutely loved it. Been a game changer. And thank you to all of you listeners and for everybody that continues to support our podcast, our mission to make the youth hockey world a better place and the hockey world at large. And so if you can do us a solid, anytime you can interact with our podcast, whether it's on iTunes or Apple Podcasts on your phone, Google Play, Spotify, we're everywhere. Shoot us a rating, shoot us a review, shoot us a like, anything like that. It goes such a long way.
Please, guys, we've been putting out free info for 6 years. Please, if you're a regular listener, don't be afraid to take 6 seconds and go on any or all of those platforms. Throw us a 100% rating. Throw us a little slap and a tickle. Whatever's going to help us get through to more people so that we can help more people in this hockey world because we love this ish. Come on, fam.
Absolutely. But thank you for continuing to support us. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this episode right now. So without further ado, here we go with Derek Stevens.
There's nothing like seeing an NHL game live. The toughness, the speed, the excitement. Every time I get to go, I absolutely love it. I've been to a few games this year, and for the best place to get tickets, you have to visit Game Time. I've used the app to get not just tickets for NHL games, but for other things like concerts as well. It's really easy to use, especially for those not as astute with technology like myself. I've used it to actually check out all that's going on at the United Center where the Blackhawks play in Chicago for concerts and other things, and it's really, really, really awesome. You can search the app by team, by performer, or by venue, which is great. You can actually see the seat view, which is really, really cool from where you're going to be sitting. And they have curated deals for you to make things simple and easy for how you like to shop. Honestly, it's just so easy to use, and it also provides you with the opportunity to save money on tickets no matter when you buy them. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too almost 24/7. And here's the gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you just bet $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast. He's got a little Wayne Gretzky Team Canada plaque right behind him, jersey, and he's got also his son with the Stanley Cup right behind him too, picture. Pretty cool stuff from Jeff's favorite place in the world. He named his initials of his daughter after this place, Sophie Taylor Lavecchio, STL. Derek's in St. Louis. Derek, what's happening today?
What's up, boys?
I
love that. STO. So good.
My guy. Well, Derek, just to introduce you a little bit to our listeners, obviously grew up in St. Louis, maybe a similar story to Vex. How'd you fall in love with the great game of hockey?
Man, three years old. I don't know. I got thrown out on the ice at Afton, and like the rest is history. It just pushing a chair, by the way, just pushing the chairs around. And I don't know, never looked back. It was just always like Afton was my, home away from home. And now I'm, doing it as a dad. So
can I tell a quick chair pushing story? Because it's actually hilarious. I don't know if I've even told you this before. So I think I was still in college and I was back home, and my dad, helps to run the rink in our hometown. And so they needed somebody to come out and help with like learn to skate. So I'm talking like little 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Like these kids are tiny. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll help. That'll be fun. So I come out and I'm doing, I've got the chairs out there and we're having fun. And like, I got the little buckets and things like that. And that day there was a guy who was interviewing for like, I don't know if it was a hockey director position, but some kind of position within the rink that had something to do with hockey. So my dad is walking this guy around the rink and showing him and stuff. And this guy has no idea that the guy who he's talking to is my dad. He has no idea that it's my dad that he's talking to. Okay. So I'm out there, I got the chairs and I got like, these kids can't even really skate yet. We're just having a good time. And my dad brings this guy out to the rink, and without even saying anything, the guy just starts carving me. He's like, I can't believe this guy has chairs on in the rink, like doesn't know what he's doing. Like I'd have these kids doing crossovers after like 3 sessions, blah, blah, blah. Not knowing that it's my dad that he's talking to. Not to mention like we're going to have 3-year-olds doing crossovers in 2 weeks. Okay, buddy. And so sure as shit, like the guy didn't get the job. Probably don't just know who you're talking to and don't talk bad about people, like that's not good or whatever. But I'll never forget
what he ended up doing after that.
I have no idea where he ended up or whatever.
He's coaching the 8U power ranking team.
Yeah, but I'll never forget that. My dad, I get off the ice and he's like, I got a story for you. And you don't know what you're doing, apparently, having these, these buckets and these chairs out for these 3-year-olds. And anyway, sorry to overtake that, but too good of a story not to share.
Awesome. Ridiculous. It's like nobody had construction buckets at 20, 35 years ago, whatever, that we're buying from Home Depot. So yeah, we had to use chairs.
Yeah. It was, I mean, I learned how to skate with a chair,
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Crazy how that works. But I would like to know kind of what his method of the madness is to be able to teach 3-year-olds how to cross over in 3 weeks. Like that's legit coaching right there.
You got to pay $10K a year for that.
Yeah.
At 3, you got to pay $10K a year.
They're on the path. Yeah.
They'll be ranked though. They'll be ranked.
Okay. So we were talking a little bit, Derek, pre-show here. You had a pretty interesting recruiting story. So you played Division I hockey at UConn, and just a really interesting story on how you get there. We heard the first half of it, which I would love for you to share, but I can't wait to hear the second half of it as well. So you played your college hockey at UConn. How did that all end up?
So that year I was playing for the Sting in the North American, RIP. It's no longer around at the old Hardee's complex. And I think we were like 17 games out of a playoff spot. That's how bad we were.
So you're playing in the North American Hockey League for a team, the St. Louis team that doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And, it turned into what the Bandits were and whatever that is, and so, and I wanted to play college hockey, and it's March and we're out of a playoff spot, but I got a phone call from a guy named Pete Belisle, and didn't know who he was. Found out about his family later. Legendary up in Rhode Island,
for sure.
And he, in his Rhode Island accent, which is awesome, says, "Hey, I'm from UConn." I'm like, UConn, okay. I saw you play this year, and I saw you play at the CompuWare tournament. This is back in September. I haven't gotten one phone call, one letter from them at all. Back in September, and I was like, "All right." And he's like, "Yeah, I liked what we saw, and I'd like to, extend it for you to come up for a visit." And he's like, "We saw you play." I was like, "Who are we playing?" He's like, "CompuWare." And I remembered, because I have a weird memory with games. And I'm like, "We lost 8-1 that game, Pete." And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Do you know I'm a defenseman?" And he's like, "Yeah, we liked what we saw." And I, so then I went out on a recruiting visit, and the rest is history. I went out with the boys, and I didn't ask a whole lot of questions, which is, shame on me, but because you want to find out where you fit. But I just wanted to play D1 hockey, and that was offered to me. But it's really, as I've coached and I've talked to players and parents, I use a story all the time, is that you never know when someone's going to see you. So you don't have to go to all these prospect things or whatever. Like, just play your best all the time, because at the end of the day, he was probably there watching someone from CompuWare, like on their top of their list, and something must have stood out. Maybe I wasn't -7. Maybe I was only -3. I don't know. And so I tell you all the time, it's like, you just play your best all the time, no matter who you're playing. And they might be there watching for the next game. That you've been recruiting for years. It's like, you show up to a game an hour and a half early. Somebody catches your eye, I don't know, write them down, maybe give them a call. So it was just an awesome, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, for sure. It's you never know who's in the rink, right? And sometimes, like, college recruiting, like, again, the more research you do and the more you watch and everything like that, the better of a decision you're going to make in those shoes as a recruiter. But some of it's honestly by chance. Like, if I'm what game am I in the building when you have your best game of the year? Or what game am I in the building when you have your worst game of the year? And everything in between. And so that's why it's so important, like the intangible stuff that we talk about a lot, the work ethic, the teammate, all the research that we do prior to even watching you play, and talking to people who know you and know your family and all that is so incredibly important because and again, it's a little bit easier now because you can see something that you like and then you can watch 10 games of that person play on video, which we didn't really have back in the day. But yeah, like the more consistent you are and the more you have that B game of intangibles, like the more you're going to be, like kind of apt to be recruited at the end of the day.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's all good. I was just gonna say one more thing. Like, and the other thing is like, let's say I show up as a college scout, pro scout, junior scout, whatever it is, and you like, I hear you're a really good player and you have a terrible game. Like we all have them, right? We all have bad games. There's games that our feet are stuck in mud, and our hands aren't there. We don't think it. Our heads are somewhere else, whatever. But if you're working really, really hard, and you have some of that B game and you're competing and you're in it and all that kind of stuff, even though maybe you don't execute really, I'm going to come back and watch you play. If you're playing a bad game and you don't have those things, you're a dog and you're bad body language and you're not working hard and things like, I'm probably going to write you off like that. Those intangibles keep people interested. Those intangibles keep people excited about you, even if maybe you didn't have your best game, and we'll go back and we'll watch you again. Does that make sense? Like that's a big part of it.
Without question. I think that's the biggest thing is that, like, he didn't call me until March. He didn't call me a week later and say, hey, whatever. There might have been some research there. I have no idea. He may have called to follow up with Rick Zombo and asked him what kind of player I am and all of those things. And so one of the things my dad always said, and I think he was like, when I was a little kid, he just to get me going, but he's like, Derek, you never know who's watching. I'm probably 12 years old. I'm like, when am I getting scouted? Right. But he said, you never know who's watching. And I always took that, like, maybe there's somebody in the stands that's going to see me. And I always had that in the back of my mind. And I think that's the thing as a recruiter or a director of hockey or in being a coach, if you're out there looking for people and something catches your eye, but then you watch them after the play, what about body language? Like one of my biggest pet peeves is kids that are really, really good and they have terrible, terrible body language. They get off their shift. And now I look at them on the bench and their heads down. They're not paying attention. They're not talking to their teammates. You're not a good teammate if you have terrible body language.
One of the first podcasts we ever did for this show was George Gwozdecki, Denver super coach, super well known. I think he was
couple national championships, coaching.
Ever heard of it? Super well known, and he was like, "I'll go and watch players." And I'll never. This was 6 years ago. He's like, "I'll go to watch players, and I'll watch them in practice. They won't know I'm in the rink, and I'll watch what's their body language in line." How are they talking to their teammates on the bench in practice? If the coach starts talking to them, are they looking them in the eye? Are they paying attention? What they get scored on. What is their head doing? What's their body doing? They don't get a pass when they're open. Like what's happening? What's their body language? Like I want to know, because all those things, like, you can't fake. They're all tells of what your character. It's revealing your character. So it's to the players listening, to the parents listening, to the coaches listening. These are all things that the highest level coaches are constantly looking at and evaluating, not just how many points you got.
Well, Vex, do you remember the story he told about Rod Brindamore on that podcast too?
Vaguely remind me, jog the old memory button.
So I tell this story to kids all the time. I think it's so impactful. And so before becoming the head coach at Denver, he was an assistant coach at Michigan State, and Ron Mason was the head coach there. They were an absolute wagon every year. Really, really good. And so he was recruiting out in Saskatchewan at that time. One of the top leagues, recruiting for NCAA Division I was out in Saskatchewan, and Brindamore was playing for this place called Notre Dame. It's a really well-known kind of like hockey academy out in Wilcox, Saskatchewan. And so he tells this story about at Michigan State, he went to go recruit and he had to make a decision and watch Rod Brindamore. And so he's watching Brindamore play. And for those who don't know who Rod Brindamore is, he's going to be an NHL Hall of Famer, captain of the Carolina Hurricanes when they won the Stanley Cup. He's the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes now, just a ultimate dude. And so he's going to watch Brindamore play, and he's playing. And in the first period, Brindamore scores a goal. And nice goal. He's like, oh, he's obviously a really good player. And but he doesn't really celebrate that much. He just kind of puts his stick up and it's like, whatever, I scored. And then later on in the game, he's on the ice and one of his teammates scored. And Brindamore acted like he won the Stanley Cup. Like he was so happy for his teammate. Like the way that he celebrated for his own goal versus the way that he celebrated for his teammate's goal and how happy he was for his teammate. Guaz was like, that's a guy we need in our program. So obviously he had the skill to be able to do it, but like that's what sold him on Rod Brindamore needs to be a part of our program. And then the legend of Rod Brindamore grew from there, right? Like there's all those stories of him. They had to lock him out of the weight room at Michigan State because he was going in there at all hours of the day. And they were like, dude, you need to rest. And then you look at the career that he's had and the Stanley Cups and what he's doing in Carolina right now. Like that stuff matters. Like those are things that we're watching as scouts and recruiters and stuff like that. And so, I just think any stories like this that really can portray to kids like how important intangibles are, how important being a good teammate is, like that matters, and people are asking those questions and they're seeing those things when they're evaluating you play too.
Yeah, because you're not always going to have your best game. Like, I mean, probably a lot of times you're not going to have your best game. But what are you doing? Are you slamming your stick when you come off this, off the ice? I'm sure there's a ton of things that you could probably, laundry list of like you check off the box of when you're recruiting. Like there's 10 other guys that are just as skilled, but he just did the thing that won't fit in on our team.
It's happened. it's happened before. There's no question. But yeah, like at the end of the day, right, if you want to win a championship, which is what high level coaches are paid to do, it's to win. You don't just win with talent, you win with culture. And how do you get great culture? By bringing in the right kids that fit your identity, that fit your program, that, come from good families, like all that kind of stuff. There's a laundry list of things from an intangible standpoint that is really important to a lot of high level hockey coaches. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, you can never talk about that stuff enough. And that's why as youth coaches, it's such an important part of what we're doing, just developing not just hockey players, but developing people with resilience and people skills and leadership. And because those are things that translate from one level to the next more than anything else at the end of the day. So, all right. So now you're in it, man. Now you're in it. You've coached hockey at the youth level for a bit. And Vex, why don't I turn this over to you, Vex? Because Derek's your boy. You guys have had different conversations. Go ahead. What do you got? What do you got, Derek?
Well, first and foremost, this absolute beauty. I told him when I was training my college guys who were all home on Christmas break, and he came yesterday to the gym and dropped off the little engine that could for me to start reading to Sophie. So really, really cool. Is this the one? Did you go out and get a new one, or is this the one that you read to your kids?
No, that's the new one. That's the new one.
Okay. And he wrote, nice little inscription in there too. So just hockey world is really cool. Just so many good people. Love this guy. But Derek, I don't know if do you have Twitter or no? You on the old?
I have it.
Not a user, so Toph's really big on Twitter, crushes it. Anybody who's not already following Toph on Twitter, you should, especially with all of the unbelievable teaching content that he puts out on Twitter. It is unbelievable.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
It is. It's amazing. It's unbelievable free game. You're an idiot if you don't follow him and you're trying to get better at hockey, coaching, or playing. But anyways, Toph yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday, some group dropped 8U power rankings, and so 8U, that means there's 7-year-old power rankings. And I was like, oh,
7 miles an hour.
7 miles an hour.
And when you pull over, you should pull over to the shoulder, not the middle of the road.
Not the middle of the road. All right. Anyways, Tommy boy.
No.
Oh no, that's
nope. Black sheep.
Black sheep. Thank you.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I got dibs on top bunk. So I called Derek and I'm like, oh man, love to have you on the show and talk about you've got a kid. Is your son 7?
Yeah, he's an 8U right now.
Is he on the rankings?
Nope, he's never gonna make it.
Oh my God, he's done. Quit hockey now.
Sorry, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta tell him he's got to quit.
Quit. You have to tell him right now. He wasn't ranked top 25 teams for the 7-year-old birth year, and his team doesn't say elite at the end. So his career is basically over, and it also means you're probably not spending $50,000 this year on hockey. So I told Topher, I was like, I really want to bring on you. You had a great career. Played college hockey from St. Louis, and now you're in it. You are in what Topher and I are talking about all the time. So I just want to hear like what it's like. Are people here? You're seeing the craziness, are people worried about rankings on your team? Like, what are you seeing at the 7-year-old level here?
I think what's weird is that everybody I talk to about it seems to be like, yeah, no, I agree. Like that's crazy, or this is out of control or whatever. But then I'm like, well, then who's doing it? Because like, I don't like, there's gotta be somebody that's not behind the Oz behind the curtain. Like somebody's gotta be, driving that bus. And it's like, I don't know. People will say, well, it's the parents. Oh no, they'll say, no, it's a business now. Now they'll say it's definitely not the kids. And so, and I was as I was telling you guys before, when they say that true leadership is when you don't worry about being right, you worry about getting it right. And that's what I'm a dad first, and I want to get it right. But you know what? I'm only at 8U for 2 years. And so I think in general, it's about trying to develop your kid, but I'm a multi-sport. I've always said specialization and in all of the studies behind it. Everybody says it, don't specialize. And then every day we see 24/7 one sport, because it's not just hockey anymore. I mean, I talked to a parent a couple weeks ago, and their kid is the same age as my son, and they unfortunately feel like they have to be in the gym in baseball during the wintertime right now, 12/18, so almost Christmas, 5 days a week, because it's optional for the March team. Is it optional? Is it?
You're voluntold.
I don't know.
Voluntold.
Because if you don't go to those, will you get picked in the March team? Because he wants to play other sports, or give him a break. It's Christmas.
Is there any chance you ask that parent if like he doesn't think that his kid would make the team because he's not paying and like paying his dues into it, or because they're kind of hinting at, oh, he's going to get left behind at 8 if he's not doing all these winter practices type of thing? Or
I think it's the latter. I think the feeling of left behind. And when I say that, I have had that feeling, and I actually know about it. Like I'm like, oh, I know I'm not going to do that. And then I have this feeling, oh man, if I don't do that,
explain
I'm
that.
going to be left behind.
Let's dig into that.
Be left behind. And so, and the thing is, I tell people I have a unique experience of like, okay, I played it. We all wish we played in the NHL for 15 years, but at some point your career ends. I started coaching. I coached high school hockey here in St. Louis. It's another topic, for 10 years before I was even married. So I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't have a kid on the team. I loved giving back. That's the deal, is like this game has given me so many things in my life, and all so at the end of the day, now I'm a parent. And so there's this feeling of, oh my gosh, like, shoot, there's that camp. Everybody's signing up for it. Man, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. But wait. But that might lead into not being good enough or whatever in your mind. At the end of the day, that's actually a false narrative in your mind, because I had to look this up last night, and I'll send you guys the link, but there's a TEDx talk about, by 13 years old, 70% of kids quit sports.
Yeah.
Which is like, and I know you guys have talked about it ad nauseum, but like, then I went down the rabbit hole of TEDx. Like, that's fun. Like, I had my son, I was holding him, he's just sleeping, right? 4 weeks old. And I'm just going through the next one, but there's 4 of them that speak similarly on youth sports, all 10 years apart, 2 years ago to 10 years ago. All of them have said the same thing. But I think the thing is that nothing's changed. Like, nothing's changed. And so how do we provide a solution to that? When the feeling is real, like, man, I'm a parent. I want to do what's in the best interest of my kid. Are they going to be left behind? And then I have to reel myself back and say, you know what? Nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to do multiple sports. And I said this last week. The thing is, and you guys know this, the thing about playing college hockey, or college sports in general, I'm still on a group text with 5 of my buddies from UConn from 20 years ago. And we talk almost every day. And they got kids that are around the same age and stuff like that. But that when you look at it, all I want is that my kids to be in the hunt athletically. So when they do decide, like, Dad, I really want this sport, maybe 7th, 8th grade, whatever, that they're not like, hey, I've never played basketball, but I'd like to play it now. And I'm like, well, you're not, that's not going to work because you've never dribbled the ball and you're in 8th grade. And so I think playing multiple sports just gives them that option and lets them be a kid.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
So when you're that feeling, because like obviously I've never had that feeling. My daughter's 3 months old, so never had to deal with that feeling. When you say it's a narrative in your own head as a parent where you don't want them left behind. Have you felt pressure from the people putting on the camp? Have you felt pressure from coaches? Have you felt pressure from other parents or any outside forces within the hockey world where, hey, Derek, you really should do this? Like, or is it all been kind of in your own head? Like, oh, I'm noticing every other kid on the team is doing this. I know that I didn't want to do this, but
so basically, where does the FOMO come from? Right?
Yeah, like feeling any pressure? Because I know that there's some organizations that put pressure. Have you felt that before, or is it mostly internalized?
I think it's internalized, but it's internalized, yet we're adults that's in a competitive world, like whatever we're doing, career, business, we're, trying to be the best we can. And so we're seeing things we're like, well, our kids don't even know that yet. So, and then we're like, oh, shoot. So they're going to have that. They're going to do that. We don't need to do that this summer. No. Well, wait a second. But if I don't do that, then and so here's what you end up seeing. You end up seeing the kids that have done it, like if it was like a year later, and you're like, wow, that kid's really good at 7 years old, which is fine. But like, let's all of us could talk about when we were 7, 8 years old or 9, 10 years old, how many kids were better than I wasn't even, I laugh about this. I'm 6'1". I don't want to give my weight away being an old guy now, but I was sophomore year of high school. I was 16 years old. My driver's license said 5'8", 140. 16. Wow. I had not grown. I had not anything. And so then by my junior year, that summer, I couldn't control it. Right. I'm 6'1", 180. And so all of a sudden you're passing by kids that were great at 7th and 8th grade. And you talked about that.
Yeah. You're not trying to make the best 8-year-old. You're not trying to make the best 9-year-old, the best 10-year-old, the best 14-year-old. That's not what you're trying to do. And so I think what you said right there is extremely important for the parents of young players listening to this. Yes, little Johnny and little Timmy who skate all summer long, 5 days a week, and they've got a skills coach and all this stuff, yes, they're going to be better probably in September or October of the next year than your son or daughter who didn't stay on the ice all summer. But that is most likely, very, very high probability, not going to be the case, especially if they only play hockey. For all of these reasons, outside factors that Topher and I are constantly talking about, increased burnout, overuse injuries, losing love of the game, not acquiring skills, both physical, mental, emotional, relationship skills that your child is going to get by getting out of the hockey rink, playing other sports, being in other locker rooms, being in other situations with different kids. I was having a conversation the other day about the difference between, I was on a podcast 2 nights ago about the difference between training NFL players versus training NHL players. It is crazy, the difference. And I'm not talking about the training. I'm talking about the personalities, the approach, the way they live. It is completely different. So if you put your kid in other sports and they're in different locker rooms, they're going to learn all these different skill sets. They're going to learn different ways of talking to different people and how different coaches think and ways to gamify different situations for hockey even. They're going to bring something from baseball to hockey. They're going to bring something from basketball to hockey, all these things. So yeah, your kid might be better in September if you're playing hockey year round at 8, 9, 10, but it will catch up to them and they will lose ground from the guys who played all these other sports and weren't kind of forced into year-round hockey in a few years. And again, as a parent, you have to think, what is the goal? And also, I'm the decider of this. Yes, my kid loves sugar, but are you going to let him eat sugar all day? No, because you know what's better for them. You know it's not good for them to do that. So we have to start, stand on business here and sometimes putting our foot down. So thoughts?
I was just going to say, how do you do that? Here's the dilemma, right? In my mind, how do you do that? What is the solution? Because I likened it to, okay, so my kid, people get involved and are passionate with like 8U or a club or whatever when their kid is there. Guess what? Then when my kid's gone, are those people around anymore? They're gone. And guess who's left hand in the bag and trying to figure it out again? And so you guys have been in it and around it and are trying to change the game, but you're seeing it and you're not leaving. You're not like going and be like, okay, well, I was really involved. I think that's part of the problem when you have, boards with high school hockey. I love the parents that want to get involved. They're only there 4 years. And then there's another 4 years and they're like, we should do it this way. We should do it that way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this is what's worked and this is what can go on. So that's another dilemma there, right? Because they don't have anybody to reach to because their kids are now, the people that did 8U and they said, oh, I would have done it differently. They're at 12U now, 14U, or the kids are gone. Sorry. So go ahead. So
I think that's really good. You know what else too? Vex, I was talking to Steph and Maddie today and, I kind of told them like, I feel a little burnt out. Like I feel a little tired. And the reason why is, over the past couple of weeks, we've done some podcast episodes and we've done some social media things, just kind of talking about the problems, right, of youth hockey, the Mite AAA and the professionalization and all that kind of stuff. And the amount of emails and DMs that I've gotten in the last 2 weeks would make you just sad, honestly sad, thinking about parents who can't afford for their kids to play tier 1, even though it's their dream, thinking about parents who have kids who, have been verbally abused by coaches who only care about, the My Hockey rankings. Yeah. On the other side, like coaches who don't want to coach anymore because, the parents, they put too much pressure on him to win. And that's not how he wants to coach. Like he knows that's not what's right. And so I'm tired because open up and be a little bit like, I feel alone. And the reason why I feel alone is because a lot of people know better. And the way that we have our, like Bob Mancini said it on our community call, like we don't have a development model. We have a competition model. And nobody wants to collaborate or work together. Everybody just wants to put everybody else down to make sure that they're, program is the best or whatever. And that happens not just at the tier 1 level, but at the tier 2 level too. And so I feel alone because so many people know better, but they're not willing to stand up and say and do what's right, because it's not going to help their entity, whatever that entity is, whether it's a tournament business, whether it's, the president of a club, whether it's a coach that wants to keep their job. Like, nobody wants to stand up and say what's right. And like, I had like a back and forth with somebody in the tier 1 world with all this stuff that we're talking about right now. And he was like, basically, Toph, like, if we don't do it, everybody else is. So we're not gonna have, the club that we want to have. And I was kind of like, if you, and this is like kind of a stand-up guy, like kind of somebody that's got some, let's call it power in the game, And I was like, well, if you're not going to do it, nobody's going to do it. And then nothing is ever going to change and nothing's going to get better. And so what needs to happen, like you talk about solutions, like for me, the biggest one is for people who know better to do better. And this guy who's the head of a tier 1 program, I won't say where or give names or anything like that, but like, I was like, imagine this, like, if I'm running a tier 1 program, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to start tier 1 until Pee-wees. I'm not going to start tier 1 until Pee-wees. And guess what? I'm going to say this is why, because this is not how you develop kids. And this isn't what's good for hockey in the area that I'm in. Okay. And imagine the families that will flock to you, the types of families that will flock to your organization that are going to so much appreciate the fact that you went against the grain to do what's right, rather than succumb to, well, if everybody else is doing it, so I have to do it too. Nothing is going to positively change when it comes to that. And so I think a big part of the solution is education, like, which is stuff that we're trying to do, and educating parents that, no, you don't need to do X, Y, or Z at X, Y, and Z ages and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's incumbent upon people who have some sway and are influential in our game to stop thinking so small scale about only the club that they're in, collaborating with other clubs rather than always having to compete with them and put them down, and doing what's actually right for the kids. Right. And so a lot easier said than done, because let's face reality. A lot of these people who have some of these power and influential decisions are getting a paycheck from these clubs. And so they're scared that if I do things the other way, then I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get thrown off the board by parents who don't want this, all that kind of stuff. That's a reality too. I'm not living in freaking idealism land here. Like, that's a lot easier said than done, but no change was ever easy. Nothing great that ever happened right away or happened easily. And so and again, like, I implore it, and I've said this in one of my social media posts the last couple of days, like, if you're involved, like, first of all, like, get involved and like, speak your mind. And if people are going to blackball you, or are those people you want to be associated with anyway? Like, if you're a parent and you see stuff going on with your club and you say something and they're like, shut up or else we're going to cut your kid. Is that where you want your kid? I don't think so. If you have a coach that has a board full of, parents who are telling you what to do and it's the wrong way, like, is that somebody you want to work for? Is that somebody who you want to be associated with? And so it's a lot of action, man. And the worst thing for me is I have so many people, and Vex, you're probably similar. I have so many people that come up to me saying, hey, thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And then if I ask for their help to actually like implement some things or do some things, I don't want to upset the apple cart type stuff. And that's where I feel really alone. I feel really alone in not getting that support. Right. And the fear of retribution is real. Yeah. Like, let's live in reality 100%. So
you call someone out for something that you don't agree with, and they have a little bit of influence or something sway. And unfortunately, again, it comes back to like, why are we all doing this? We're doing it for the kids. And if you're not, I mean, listen, I'm okay with sports being a business. I'm okay. I'm okay with capitalism, people making money. Like, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're not helping the kids by ended up doing all those things that you're talking about, and then nobody does anything. Toph, is that's got to be so draining, because you're like, hey man, great message, thanks a lot, and then they go back to doing the same thing that you just talked about. Like, you're like, wait a second, I thought you said, and I think at the end of the day, when I look at it, I said, if we reverse engineer this thing and your hockey career is over at 30, that means you played like in the NHL, you played at a high level, whatever. Most people's hockey career is over at 18, 22, whatever. What do you want from your kid at that point? Do you want them to be a good human being or hate the game? And I think all of us could say, listen, when my kid's 5 and they got in it for the love of the game and for fun, I want them to be a great human being, great teacher, a great, whatever. If we have more kids love the game when they end the game, we have more kids that want to coach and want to give back. Right? I love the game. There's so many things that I owe to hockey and people that I'll never know that stepped in and took care of things. And that's why I owe that to the game.
And we just need more people like you, Steve-O, in the game, and Toph and Toph. I totally know what you're saying. What's really hard is that, and I know what you're saying, Toph, because like it's been the same thing for me with like training in the gym for the last 40 years, up until maybe like the last 5 or 8 years. It was so like bodybuilding and powerlifting. And when I started doing things a different way, and I was like, dude, this changed my career. And then I started helping my teammates do it. And then I started a business and people ripped on me all the time for my philosophies and stuff. And like, no matter how many hundreds of guys in the beginning I had being like, look at all these guys who are playing better. Look at their numbers. They all feel better. They're all getting injured less. And I just would try and be like, dude, just try these things. Like, let's try it. It's working. Let's try it. Everybody's feeling good. Look, like, here's the proof. And it felt like I was constantly just getting like berated for trying to do something a different way, a better way, all these things. And I know it's hard. And then like, you have to talk about the things that you see that aren't being done well. And then you feel like negative and you're always bringing up negative. And you're like, well, how do we change it if we don't talk about that? But then there's people are making so much money in other ways. They don't want to try to change. And I totally get what you're saying, man. It feels helpless. Like I felt that way here in St. Louis, man, with the organization I grew up with. Like I've done so much to try and help them. Like guys, like why don't we have a new, they're paying this much money. Why don't they have a nutritionist that comes once a month? Why don't they have a sports psychologist coming once a month to talk to players and give them coping strategies with stress and this and that, and teach them about, visualization and all these things? No, we're just going to keep spending all this unbelievable godly amounts of money on going out of town. Well, is that really developing any players? How many players have we moved on in the last 10 years versus the 10 years prior? Like, I don't know, like maybe let's look internally and stop being like, oh, we do everything the best, but then look internally and we're not doing things the best, but we're just going to keep doing things status quo. And it drives me knuckin' futz. I said last podcast here, and I know what you mean, but Toph, you're making change, bro. You are 100%. I know it's not easy. And I know the things we talk about this podcast, some people think that we're just idealists, but you've put it into practice. I've been put into practice in my business in a separate type of way for 17 years. Like, we just have to keep doing it. Anybody who's listening to this, that's a coach or a team manager, just keep being the example, keep doing things. What did you say, Derek? What did you say? I don't want to be right. I want to get it right.
Being right. It's about getting it right.
Get it right.
And I did not make that up, by the way. That's a
nobody knows that. You could have taken that, but I respect the honesty.
People that know me they know that I didn't make that up. Hey, real quick though, you guys, I know the I don't think it was on Short Shifts. I think it was Friday Face Off, right? The real quick on the full ice, right? You were fired up about it. And I just want to let me give you my perspective on, because my kid is a first year 8U. And so he plays
not ranked, by the way. So maybe you don't want to listen to his advice. His son is not on a ranked team.
That is just.
But here's the thing: he's on 2 little clubs, right? And I help coach the one, right, over at Kirkwood, and then he's on hockey club. And so here's the thing: the Kirkwood is all half ice, all small area, all like whatever. And we're out on the ice and on the weekends, and I'm coaching, and there's 50 kids, 60 kids. There's 200 kids at 8U at Kirkwood, which is awesome for the game, right? Crazy though. So that gives that flavor of like small area. I do think you throw in a little full ice to help them just start to understand like kind of what an offsides is, but also get them going as far as their legs, like full ice. And I get it. You don't want to have kids like not touching the puck and all that stuff, but it's limited because we kind of do both on that side. And I think it's really helpful because first of all, my son kind of like is a little behind on the kids that are on the club side. And I love that because he's grinding or whatever. And then he feels like, oh man, I get to go to, my Kirkwood thing, and he has fun with his buddies. So it's this good combination. But I did hear one of my friends, it's a friend of a friend, that they work for one of the analytics companies. I don't know, it's Huddle or something. But anyway, they said that they track all these metrics, and they said that a kid, if he goes full speed at least once a week, right? Like it like pushes himself once a week, that's how he can get faster. And you know more than that about fast twitch and how you get faster. But I don't think it's an all or nothing thing. If you have a kid as 8U that's doing all full ice, that's not good. I think it's a combination of it and how much your kid really wants to play. I mean, anyway. So I wanted to comment on that because I know that you were fired up about it, and I was like, I agree with you. Full ice on 8U just all day long.
For me, I would say you could get the stretch in the legs by doing half ice practices. Half like red line, not blue line in, red line. You at 7 years old, they're getting to top speed by the red line, by the blue line. There's no doubt about it. And then they curl back and they can do it again. And the most important thing that I think, and obviously everybody's entitled to their own opinions, you're saving cost on ice. And again, the cost of hockey is disgusting. We should keep it as low as we can for as long as we can. And for me, at 7, 8, probably 9, full ice, for not just the reasons of hockey, but the reasons of economically, I think that half ice practices, more than enough. Splitting the sheet into 3 so you can get 3 games going on. So the cost of the ice time now is in thirds per team. Just makes more sense for me. And on top of that, like the skills that they're going to get from the practice at half ice and then the in-tight skills from the, smaller games. For me, I think that is the best combination for everybody for all the different reasons in my own opinion. Toph, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. I do agree with you, Derek, that like we live in a world that loves to see things in the binary. It's one way or the other. When a lot of times there's, things in the middle. Again, like I would even argue that full ice at squirts probably isn't what we should be doing. Like, but can you throw a couple full ice games in there every now and again? Sure. Like, to learn that stuff or whatever. Yeah, I mean.
Well, how do you rank half ice then, Toph?
Don't get me going, man. Don't get me going. But like, I do agree with you in that sense. Like, again, everything is so easy to look at in black and white. And some things when it comes to development is black and white, but a lot of things when it comes to development is very gray. And that's the cool thing is like, I think trial and error is awesome. And you try new things and you think about things in different ways, or you learn things from different people and you try it, it might work. You try it, it might not. So having some flexibility in things, I think is a healthy thing. But from like a pure developmental perspective, what we're talking about, what all the research says, and you even watch like an 8U game or even a 10U game, like, it's not hockey. Not that like playing a half ice game isn't hockey, but the things that you need to develop skills as a hockey player, you do that in small areas and
half ice ends up equalizing the playing field for those kids that haven't developed high end speed, like they can't do a crossover that well yet. And so full ice, all of a sudden that kid's gone, he's on a breakaway. Half ice, you don't have all that room. So now it's like, okay, now it's a little bit of a battle. And that kid, like you had said before, hockey's back and forth. It's not straight up and down. We're not running.
It's a game
track.
of transition. You're always going back and forth. Offense, defense. Yep.
All the time. And so, what do you end up doing? I mean, I think the cost effective measures to get this game that we love to not have it like every other, you talked about the funnel. Every other sport is a reverse funnel. Hockey is every other sport is a funnel where they, there's more kids that play potentially later, right? You can pick up the game later. If you didn't pick up hockey early, it's almost impossible to catch up. And so that's where it's how do we keep more kids in our game? I mean, I just don't
lowering the cost by playing half ice.
you
not having rankings at 8U.
Any parent that comes up to me that doesn't know hockey and they said, "Hey, my kid wants to play hockey," but you know what the first thing out of their mouth is? It's not like, "Hey, is it really fun?
It's cost.
Do they get a lot of life lessons?" They say, "I heard it's really expensive, Derek."
Exactly.
And I'm
exactly, bro.
Okay, well, let me walk you through some logical steps and, go here, do this, do not do private lessons. I'm not against private lessons. But at the end of the day, I told this multiple times when I was coaching high school, because parents would come up to me and say, "How do I get my kid better, potentially to play varsity, right? What can they do to get better? And what can I do to get my kid better?" And I said, "You can't. You can't." And they looked at me like, "What?" Like, they have to want it. So if they drop their books or do their homework and they go get on the computer and they don't go outside with their friends and play street hockey or shoot balls or do whatever, they're not getting better. They're not and that's on their own. That's not even cost anything. So, we used to try to find streets that had lights on it so we could, shoot street hockey or whatever,
Yeah. Go in an alley and shoot a puck into a terrible joke. I was thinking of Fulton Reed.
I knew you were going Fulton Reed.
I'm so glad you knew where I was going.
I knew exactly where you were going. As soon as you said alley, I'm like, he's going Ducks.
How did you get that quickly?
Because we got ESPN.
Hey, you guys have done this a few times. That is the cousin connection right there, bro. Because no one else knew where I was going.
But that's awesome. That's one thing that I think a lot of parents don't realize is that, okay, let's think about a value proposition here and an ROI on your investment. At 9 years old or even older, I mean, it's a little bit different when you get older, but let's just say 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever. You can play street hockey for free with your friends and get all these different puck touches and have fun and all that kind of stuff. Or you can go down in the basement and play hockey with your dad or play hockey with your mom and get all these puck touches and have fun and blah, blah, blah. Or you can do a private lesson with a coach that costs $120. And if you think about the ROI on those, the free thing versus the $120 thing, that if you're doing it once a week for a year, you're going to spend $5-6 grand on private lessons. I'm choosing the free one every day of the week because my kid's probably getting better at 9 years old just doing that than they would with a technical skills coach that is just going and they could be a great skills coach. But $5 grand versus free, what you're getting for the free and what you're getting for the $5 grand, even if it's a great skills coach at 9 years old, let's think about this rationally, right? And that's where there's so many free ways to get better. The facts, like you always say, go play basketball in the freaking driveway. It's going to make you a better hockey player.
Yes.
Play hockey in the basement with your mom and dad. It's going to make you a better hockey player. Watch a game on TV. Maybe that's 10 cents because of the cable bill, whatever. That's free. And so again, when it comes to parents and FOMO, you don't have to be doing all of these things. Just think about how much your kid would get out of having the hockey team over and having a basketball tournament in the driveway. Oh, just as good as a hockey practice.
And the memory.
Just as good as 10 hockey practices.
And the memory for kids.
And the memory, and that's going to help them to fall in love with the game. It's going to help them understand that the logo on the front of the jersey, you're playing with your boys or your girls, and there's something greater than yourself, and you're developing that kind of camaraderie. There's so many ways that you can help your kids to develop. Again, you're right, Derek. They got to want it. But also, you don't have to go to the ends of the earth and pay all this money to do it. There's so many, and we talk about them all the time, that you can do that cost you nothing.
Yeah, you're like, hey, listen, I got you a street hockey stick. I got you your rollerblades, and like, go outside. Like, just go. I don't know. Go figure it out.
Get off your damn iPad.
And I think that at the end of the day, like, you hear it all the time. It like gives me chills every time I hear a guy win the Stanley Cup or win something, and they like, man, I dreamed about this in my basement or on the street, and I was Gretzky. I was 99, and and like, are we doing that anymore? Are kids walking around saying, all right, I'm McDavid today. I'm Matthews today. I don't know. I don't know if they are, but man,
I hope
when
so.
you get to that moment,
God, I hope
eventually, you're not going to be saying, I've been dreaming about this from a kid since I was a kid. I'd be like, hey, I was on the ice with my skills coach at 8, and I was dreaming about whatever. I don't know.
Man, like I
was on the ice dreaming about my skills coach.
Dreaming about my mohawk turns. Yeah, man. I was like in 8th grade. Like everybody else was going to like parties on Friday and Saturday night, and I remember going to Andrew Fraley's house and just like playing 1-on-1, and we'd play like to 10. One guy's the he was a goalie on our AAA team, and I was a forward. And he would play goalie, and I'd play forward. Then we'd switch. I'd put on the pads. He'd play out.
Dude, there's nothing
all
better.
night long. And then we'd have other guys. Then we have shinny hockey tournaments, and we'd go to Muncie's house, and it would be like WWE wrestling mixed with shinny hockey all in one game, like fighting 1-on-1 tourneys, like
holes in the walls and the drywall for getting tackled.
High school. Topher's playing in the USHL, youngest player in the USHL at 15 years old. Not a big deal. Pretty cool. I'm a sophomore. He's a junior. I'm living with him playing midget major. On Sunday when he didn't have games, we're playing shinny hockey with the whole family.
We played knee hockey with my little brothers.
Chicks over, hey babes, come play shinny hockey. I'm like, if I score on you, gotta give me a kiss on the cheek. What's up? Obviously, that's why I started sniping so much. Joe's laughing because he remembers it. Yeah, that's all we did, and it's because he just loved the game. He loves the game. What movie?
I don't know what that is.
Mystery Alaska. Guys, in the courtroom. Big Fat Pete or whatever his name is.
Yeah. What's his name?
Because
it's Bailey. His name was Bailey. Yeah,
he loves the game.
And dead. Heart attack.
But you gotta love the game, man. You gotta love the game. You don't need to do $12,000 a year, 7-year-old ranked AAA hockey, for God's sakes.
I mean, Jeff, I told you this, I think a few years ago, like when I saw you at the gym, and I was like, dude, I don't even know. Like, we reconnected because once you go away and then you come back, you go away for a while and then you come back, you don't know what people are doing. And, you were the kid who, like, after either we had ice after practice that like we could stay on, and there was like optional practices. I remember you got the invite to come out. I don't think, yeah. And so, but you would always come out. And guess what? The reason I know you and we connected is because I never wanted to get off the ice, man. I wanted to use that time to and I was learning from different guys. Jan Stasny was 3 years younger than me. And every time I was on the ice, I'm like, oh, I don't know what he's doing. I want to do that. I don't know. Yeah. And so you would be out there on the ice watching us take one-timers and do different stuff with us.
And asking, why do you use this curve? Let me see your stick. Oh, and the guys are, curving their own blades with the torch. And I learned all about that from being 12 and hanging around with the Sting junior players. And I started being at home, sawing the end of my stick blade off to make it a square. And then,
oh yeah,
bro, I did that. Yeah, I did do that.
Loser.
Oh, what a loser. And I'm heating up the blade on the stove on the fire. And my parents are like, is this safe? And there's like wood carvings going into the stove,
glue dripping down in your kitchen,
glue everywhere.
Oh my God,
glue in the shaft.
Protector going off, Jeff.
Wait, so I had to buy all these blades for you, but now you're going to burn them and they're going to break sooner, and you're sawing the toe off. What are you doing? But
and your shot sucks.
Yeah, I hope you didn't take my curve, man, because
Yeah, dude, I don't even remember who. I was looking at them all. I started using a huge heel curve, not something like an 11-year-old should have been doing or however old I was. But I was just, just trying stuff, learning stuff, having fun every day with the game, man.
Oh God, those were the days, man. Those 2-piece sticks, and then you had the glue for the to put them on for the blade and for the knob.
My knobs would always get loose, always.
It was the worst feeling.
And then
ever.
you got
Kids today, like for all the kids listening, you have no idea how good you have it. Although the sticks were $350 cheaper than they are today.
Hey, I got to tell you, quick plug. My kid uses wooden sticks right now.
Send me a picture.
I sent this in a video. And you guys don't know about this. For all the parents that want to save a little bit of money, it's Gretzky endorsed. Northland makes a 3-pack. It says Gretzky 99 on it. I'll have to send you Topher or Jeff, send him the video. And it's a 3-pack. It was $99 for wood sticks. I cut it down. It's got Gretzky's little stamp autograph on it. It kind of looks like the old Titan. And I had to do the tape job on the top. And my son's like, how do you know how to do that so good, Dad? I'm like, because I don't have like grip. Whatever they have now.
Lizard skin.
Did you guys ever do that actually in back in the day? You'd have stick taping races.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
Right? And then some people would be like, they can legit tape their stick really well in like 10 seconds.
Not me.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, it's so funny because I don't know how often you guys taped your stick, but in juniors when things were free, I would tape my stick in between each period. That what an idiot, right?
But I did that all the time. Every game, my whole career. 10
if
years
I did that when my parents were paying for tape, I would never had any tape on my stick. Because they would have been like, I don't know. That's good for 3 weeks. You're But I was coaching a high school. You remember Chicago Showcase? Now they have, it's like it was big. Missouri a couple years ago, and they won. It was awesome. I was helping coach on that team. And one of the kids, first of all, he didn't have his second stick out on the bench. He's like, my stick. I'm like, what? Where is it? He's like, it's in the locker room. It's this one. He goes, oh, it doesn't have any tape on it. I'm like, what are we doing?
Idiot.
What are we doing? Prepare. So I go in, and in like 2 seconds, I went like this, got it all taped. And I brought it back out in like 2 minutes, and I gave it to him, and he looked at me, he goes, how'd you tape that so quick? I'm like, I played the game, man. Like, so, Anyway.
Listen here, young buck.
Listen, buddy. You don't even know how many sticks I paid.
Oh, God. So much nostalgia with this stuff. It's so funny. Yeah. Well, Derek, thank you so much for taking the time to be on with us today. This was a phenomenal conversation. Absolutely. Love your perspective. And keep killing it, man. Our kids are the same age, or at least our oldest and middle are right around. You got the 4-week-old. God bless you. You and Bex both. I am done with that phase of my life. Unless the doctors who did a bad job, you know what I mean?
Babysit, you're gonna take a break. Come on down.
There you go.
I absolutely love the conversation, guys. I like I tell you, in the email, I was like, oh well, how long are we gonna talk? 8 hours. I mean, I love talking hockey and how we can, get the game better, keep more kids in it, keep them enjoying it. I love what you guys are doing. I'll have to get on Twitter a little bit more. I don't know how to, but
follow Toph, bro.
I think it's just being able to communicate the message and having people say, look, you know what, you can't be at the rink complaining about the problem and also being a part of the problem. You have to be a part of the solution. And what is that? I don't know, but push back. If you don't like something, push back against it, and you know what's the worst that's going to happen? We all can't play the game forever. Only 1% make it to whatever level. So really it's about being a good human being at the end of the day, right?
Money.
You can't complain about the problem and also be part of the problem.
Yeah. That's what, I tell people, if you're going to be in the part of, if you're going to complain about the problem, either get involved or stop talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just 100%. A great lesson for life, honestly.
Yeah.
I hate when, and you know, what's a great book for that? RSF, bro. And you gave it to me, and that I gave it to one of my guys. I haven't got it back. I need to go buy another copy.
Which one is that? RSF?
Relentless Solutions Focus.
Oh yeah.
I told you
who
about
wrote that?
Yeah,
Jason Selk. He's the same.
We had him on the podcast. We had him on the podcast, bro. He crushed it.
Yeah, For sure.
He's so good. And he helped the Cardinals. And I think that's the thing, is that 85% of our thoughts are negative, and 75% of those, or 80% of those, are false.
Yeah.
It's just
unbelievable.
Be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem.
Love that. Love that. He invited me to go down and speak at one of his things in Miami. Yeah, but it was like the week after my daughter was born. I was like, oh, can't do it. Want to do it so badly. But
Kylie,
see ya.
Like the congrats,
babe.
Like the, you know what? Put the hangover thing. And then
it's baby Carlos while I'm speaking.
Glasses. You're good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on, Derek.
Thanks, Derek. We're going to hold on to you here for another couple minutes. We're going to do a 10 questions with you. That's going to end up in our Hockey Think Tank community. And so if you're not a part of that community, we just had an awesome call with Bob Mancini last week. One of the head guys at USA Hockey. People got to ask some really pointed questions to him. And he was great. He answered all of them, and he got some great perspective on some of the things going on behind the scenes within USA Hockey. So great job by Bob. So if go to community.thehockeythinktank.com if you're not involved already. And Derek, we'll hold on to you here for a couple more minutes, but thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.